Is everyone good?
1 second, sorry, I just need to connect to the Wi-Fi. I tried in the other room to connect to the school Wi-Fi and was not successful again, so. So, just a second, let me turn my hotspot. Should be good. 2 seconds. You can go ahead and get started. I'm fine without the 1AC, or I'll figure it out. We're good. Okay, you want to get started.
Advantage 1 is innovation. The flags convenience loophole enables U.S. companies to register their patents in foreign jurisdictions that crushes innovation. That's Howard 22. For patents in space, current system is enacted innovation. States are rational actors and maximize interest. Whereas developed nations view patents as essential. Developing nations limit rights to use patent value protection to exclude infringers. Claims of ownership made difficult to protect. Commercialization will lead to disputes. U.S. as the strongest space industries. Lack of explicit laws creates problems in jurisdictional disputes, making it difficult to determine which rules apply. Disincentivizing patent disincentives are hidden in space. Fact and convenience disincentivizing patenting by weakening scope of protection. Incentives to obtain patent decrease. The tech cannot be used in space once acquired. Countries create low standards, incentivize infringing incentives are exacerbated in space. Infringing competitor plays the same benefit of country. Serve a launching state protecting in space requires every country. The contextual environment of space creates a unique necessity for patents. That's elite 24 of the territorial nature. It creates a complex problems. Patents are the most crucial IP and comms. Mining and propulsion application fraud with uncertainties without clear rules. Holders find it difficult to enforce rights rating a gray area that deter innovation is unclear. Which system has jurisdiction? Lack of clarity lead to conflicting claims and uncertainty. Companies reluctant to invest in tech. Private companies invest in R&D. Have vested interest in protecting innovation. Law for multiple country development of space is specialized and involves significant cost swap. May be difficult in geopolitical climate as space evolves to private companies. IP has become a core necessity from design to software. IPR ensuring rewards stacking innovation. Greenlight cyber attacks on critical space assets. That's Mark. 24 space brings challenges in cyber satellites are vulnerable to manipulation and interference. Complexity of software. When small satellites and with older satellites lack processing power and agility, those are vulnerable data manipulation leads to misinfo, cause navigation to malfunction, signal jamming can affect military ops. Attackers gaining control of a satellite trigger conflicts, vulnerabilities, highlight need for defenses, fortifying assets. Rely on tech advancements and advanced cartography for vital for communication system, provide early warning, safeguarding space. Demand tech innovation. The pace of pace is unparalleled. Russian attacks are especially likely post-Ukraine. That's Cornelius. 24 about Russia's bombs against space assets represent a critical concern. Space importance recognized for decades, providing critical services. Russia recognizing this integrated cyberspace into its strategy. Russian ambitions have historical roots from subject to Roscosmos in recent years. Russia made significant investments. Georgia, where Ukraine, Syria, cyber attacks and targeting several points. Russia demonstrated proficiency in all areas of GPS jamming to drop both military and civilian growing trend. Is targeting commercial satellites and lines increasingly where Russian groups have a history of cyber and target satellite. Russian doctrine places emphasis on space attacks go nuclear through accidental or intentional escalation. That's Miller 23. The Great Zone includes cyber info war, electronics directed energy savings, point to fundamental insecurity, interference, reach critical infrastructure, hostile actions become normalized. Sovereignty is a source of tensions with ally, Israel, or odds, various approaches and licensing have unfolded, not facing governments failure to govern activities with an accelerator of uncertainty and harms. Space systems rely on cyber attack on a single node, generating rippling effects, bypassing new security nukes are on high alert to respond to attacks. V4 ISR present a vector for attacks, interference, intentional or not, cause inadvertent escalation to nuclear war. Both US and Russia use nukes in response to minor incidents, reduce horrific escalation of effects on Earth and incur unpredictable consequences and escalate no defense. That's Lin 24. Cyber vulnerabilities are professional and systems. Payloads can all be hacked. Wait, am I supposed to read that? Okay. All hacked along supply chain represents more vulnerabilities giving follow costs and commercial interest in space tech and dual use unclear. Law leaves open door for open escalating conflicts which elicit cyber response issues and law enable conflicts outside cyberspace called for a decade of global lack of consensus cyber attacks. Justified military response is destroying greatly having GPS chips assuming implies breakdown of good faith old and silent a key barrier clear attribution does can lead to miscounts in areas that high sea outrages might not be in the near future 0 days haven't been used. Barriers between to lower cyber attacks can be effective against CDI costs are less dramatic. Cyber attacks resulting in kinetics effect rating on Earth's special circumstances of space illicit response critical to national security. War could be existential. Scorchers Russia used nukes in space with few guardrails accidents and evil single incident quickly escalate cascading effects that dangerous precedent not care non-state not care about sustainability even absent escalation attack for a hypersonic arms race. That's Zone 22 adversaries double down on the long range strike options to get a defeating strike is attack track and counter virulent delivery missile warning systems are essential. Satellites provide broad view of the globe to attack to ensure adversaries understand limitations motivating to invest in new hypersonics. This requires US to detect threats that crashes insurance fire crisis instability nuclear war. That's Fire 17 missile increase the threat where the target has defenses rather than countermeasures could be destabilizing evolution command and control eyes and more forces first acceleration or risk capture LOW increase instability preemption guaranteeing destructive action lesser powers destabilizing agendas for deployments not to see energy dependence and income rest decision aggravate instability Iran Israel NOCO Japan Volta include major powers US Europe Russia tend to path for escalation states are trigger happy cybersonic weapons low the threshold. Meta-analysis proves that patents are innovative. That's Nuevas 21 meta-analysis estimates that IP and IPR division and results influenced by bias editors for studies reporting greater significance after correcting. We found effect on IPR positive on innovation effect of IPR areas with development weaker in developing countries and developed conforms. Understand IPR of the capital to invest is high. IPR play a crucial role in innovation. Thus the plan by reversing the standard in DECA limited versus United States and NTP versus RIM. The United States States federal government to secure space patents on international states registries currently under extraterritorial jurisdiction. Advantage 2, its offshoring space commercialization is inevitable, but success hinges on effective patent law. That's Bato 17. Private actors enter space by many questions may address regarding IP activities, depending on simple, uniform, reliable framework without protection of investors would not invent unless focused on R&D with a reliable framework. Investors maintain their inventions as trade secrets would make knowledge for FOC company could use to avoid liability, allowing companies to flex convenience, undermine value of patents, and fewer benefits remains limited to a small number of advanced countries that covered by the U.S. and work like adjudicated who which are the cost of requirements. Those determinations need to be addressed in international treaty. The only alternative is to have an individual country adjudicate its own. Abuses are likely, and no hope lies within multilateral or ambiguous solutions. That's Bato 19. Exceptions include application of infringement under laws of another country. The future IP is an unaltered legal framework. Territoriality does not fit space. Territorial definitions incompatible with the OSC. The absence of a defined authority creates a vacuum of power incentive for unsupervised activities, uncertainty, hurt investment, stalling progress. Upon when states depend certainty and competition seeds of a thriving commercial environment. FOC will cause an issue far into realm of imagination. It's not difficult to imagine abuse of innovation in a country with favorable rights under 35 USC. The presence of infringing tech would not be actionable under infringement as a registered isolated countries could outsource this based onto overseas partners to avoid rights. The question is whether courts would extend jurisdiction under such extension barred by 35 USC because registrations trumps consideration to control risks within space governance. Compensation for resource crunch, back contamination, and rogue tech. That's SL22. Increasing needs of space visitors and researchers lead to proliferation of new activities. Space will change the trajectory of humanity. Tech will bring governance challenges because of scale and geography, sustainability, failure, render our orbits unusable, depleting A resources, highly to accelerating resource usage with GCR. Through go forward of back contamination, panspermia, advanced spreading of biological material, lack of control. There are existential risks which TI von Neumann probes duplicated at unprecedented, unexpected rates in solar system. Digital mines in outer space result in vast suffering. Future gens are neglected. The chances mitigated through states governance. AI might overpower humans or seize infrastructure and experts to humanity. The loophole green lights, offshoring and illicit activities, accelerating crime and pollution. That's Tahiti. 13. FOC creating permissive environment for and environmental damage result of losing oversight and record keeping, reduce record keeping, safety concerns, environmental catastrophe. Under 4 and 5, justice is stripping the lack of capacity of the determination to monitor results of rise in outer space to lack regulations. FOC increases debris by not following debris mitigation as travel becomes common, the more will accumulate. The probability will collision increase greatly, producing impenetrable fragmentation, letting case of pollution. Space through the OSD calls to sell to adverse changes in the environment without clear principles of conflict between tourism and environment protection. Go private companies registered territory with no regulation. Spacecraft ensure global war. That's Bato 20. Crime is a key issue. Colonization and potential for criminal activity makes us consider space all future crimes. There can be no lunch for states at EMP space and make blackouts and bombs. These crimes are attached to Earth population, destruction of property, war crime, and conflict may break out competition for raw materials. Space pollution overshoots biophysical limits. Extinction. That's reached 23. Climate is recognized by scientific community. And the effects are severe in the near future. Ocean acidification, sea level rises, extreme weather, loss of biodiversity, soil degradation, water disease, nuclear AI, adjusting climate may eliminate these human survivals that safely which in space is contaminating environments. Astronomical objects are not inhabited by space. Colonization is different from colonization in space. It will not subjugate indigenous people of humanity. Should be used to destruction in space. Humans become multiplanetary, leads to self-destruction and exploitation of resources. In an optimistic scenario, humans will reduce energy and pollution. Mars is unsuitable and especially polluted. The environment is a main source of excess. The plan solves both advantages. It closes the loophole. That's Langarod 22. The U.S. should prevent FOC. Congress can choose loophole by modifying statute by NTP testing with IAC and NTP. The identity of an owner of infringing should be our most important. So long as the flag has been overlooked by ownership, the U.S. entity should be satisfied with the copyright. The NTP U.S. extended jurisdiction based on controlling use by changing laws. Companies less likely to evade infringement. This would remedy FOC. No neg fiat. There's no neg resolution, which means it's unpredictable.
What's the incentive to cyber attack?
What's the incentive to cyber attack? We think that Russia is currently a revisionist power, in that they think that if they cyber attack the U.S., they can get more control, and they just have ambitions.
What?
Like over, like.
So your scenario of internal escalation is attacking nuclear satellites that have very large strategic and geopolitical implications for the U.S. and would likely cause retaliation. Why does Russia want to get themselves into a war?
Darn.
Okay, yeah, sure. I think that Russia thinks that they're cyber vulnerable, or they are more resilient to cyber attacks. They think they can kind of
so
retaliatory cyber attacks.
This is reliant on the claim that Russia is more resilient to cyber attacks.
Well, we think no, it's not reliant. We think it's true and incentivizes them to do it.
But this proving that means that Russia, if they think that they're vulnerable too, means we do not. Okay.
No,
we have a bunch of cards that say the US
Lynn also talks about brazen like attacks where they think that the U.S. wouldn't be able to tell it was them, and they're like uncertain.
What evidence says the U.S. can't be able to tell them?
Yeah, the Lynn evidence.
Lynn evidence says that Russia thinks that, not that it's true.
No, that card's about international space law creating unclear
Exactly.
It's about a lot of things, but
But
it's about why.
Specifically in cyber systems, there are ingress and egress points, and in every single stage of that, there is a network detection mechanism for that, which is why there's never been a major cyber attack on one.
Are you asking a question
property.
or making
I'm
arguments?
describing that, and I'm asking you a question to follow up. What evidence do you have that gives an explanation backed by computer science principles as to why attribution is impossible?
Wait, get the question. Like, we think miscalc is possible.
You have a
because-
claim, what
Yes.
evidence do you have, what explanation do you
The
have?
Cornelius evidence, the Miller
That you
evidence,
penetrate
and the
this.
Lin evidence. None of your studies.
My bad.
But
Advantage 2. Your first card is about lack of regulations in patent law.
Yeah.
Implication for that, like, seems to be just
Offshoring.
you can't really. Sorry, offshoring.
Yeah, we think that there's the loophole right now which allows
Yeah.
a company to infringe on a patent, which causes that company to launch their their technology outside the U.S. That makes them immune to U.S. regulations, which is bad.
Why are U.S. regulations key? Your cards just say international space regulation for that for yourself.
No, we think that the U.S. has the best regulations. They can go to another.
What card
The
says
Haworth
US?
evidence. The Haworth evidence says that other countries will incentivize companies to go to their country. And
Yeah.
try
So
to get-
what does that have to do with international space governance, like developing misaligned AI? Why wouldn't they want to all stop that?
Yeah. So the problem is that there is a race to the bottom of countries to remove regulations on space activities. To
What evidence is
encourage-
that?
The Haworth
Well,
evidence.
yeah, this is Howard and Geary, which says that
Is
there's a
it
race to the
first
bottom. Countries
Yeah.
will loosen their regulations in order to attract businesses to launch in their country. The plan solves this by allowing litigation anyway. So
I just want to clarify, I'm not getting this one. Can you say the name again?
Todd Geary. It's
What, Haworth?
Howarth and Todd Geary.
Yeah.
That's fine. Oh, okay, it's the first one.
It's going to be 7 off the innovation advantage, the offshoring advantage. Wait, Mike, do you have changes or something? You're done soon.
Oh, I do? Accident.
My Wi-Fi is super slow, so it's gonna take me a second. My Gmail doesn't even open. Okay.
I've never been able to get on Wi-Fi here, so I use my hotspot, so fully understand.
Yeah, we're all on hotspots too.
I'm good.
Okay, is anyone not good?
Cool. First up is T subs the word in beings throughout that words and phrases, 8 violation, they're only space pad, phone negative, slowly talking about hundreds of tiny substance maxims, the reliance is that the planet over signals, an abrupt legal shift that collapses the faith of a slew of reliance interests in the dependability of settled law that strangers innovation investments Mr. 19. Each time a court changes law, deficit reliance is have laws unstable, when reliance is damage investors together, they'll never give investments referring to making investment, they hold their innovation trades businesses, so technological advances, stability, support reliance to regard the change in health or harmful language, exactly to believe that change moving forward, they'll refrain from making investments disrupts, no disruptions of reliance interest cascades, he said, let's the entire edifice of regulatory law, this will over crashing, investment in rule of law, Bridge 21. They are expected to behave against regulatory rights and would be an active research and not required the right conditions ways of protecting against other there's an issue I believe that unrealized investment tables are unable to calculate against other rules since the true and already known Congress where those not rules establish rules and interpretation tangled out of everyone such interpretation on the last measure of expedition possibility of operating more lines it's just right the injury disability on swing government investment for example for sure that a capital intensive finance is alternate there were those simple laws like regulatory risk and water investment pressure adaptation planetary extinction ball 24 with the goal for sure the link of water and ready and change national strategy when they benchmark laws using lots and innovation, and investment in the world, including environments and arms, catalyze finance, innovation, and innovation, breaking down the expertise, and the capital social opposite for the investment in water, support social infrastructure, and need to provide my governments who are social condition performance of the verify and to fulfill social issues, institutions, and those of financial investor, and operator next up is a multi-line accountability and for should propose security space bounds on international states registers cover currently under extraterritorial jurisdictions and amendments or trips prohibit non-special 301 justified terrorists comply with the amendment and prohibit strengthening protection of intellectual property rights domestically weakening its IP rights match the minimum standards proposed on trips unilaterally increasing U.S. IP protections offsets international IPR harmony that encourage special 301 use for November 92 protection of U.S. IPs. So the only one who the government gets not out of protection for the U.S. IP lines U.S. here to do investor around the session here what is interested in a broader price because where interested in fair protection additional registration of retaliation steps and U.S. action how U.S. Indian trade relations with fair protection we wrote it on that these abilities of injury crimes of unilateralism and just out of injury media was only to use special the one special 301 breaks international trade regulation green lighting protections and child 19 special 301 and the U.S. IP Chinese over to do as the overreaction and goes with a long controversial practice in the Indian of the violates the law regulations special 301 does not give any attitude only local lines the source of the offering measures now is the measure getting most trade and official 301 those disputes escalate child 19 this will use by the U.S. trade more can easily or traditionally or immediately propose equivalent target sectors and factors of trade with countries that anyone to the euros having the chance of a trade war cause exchange stocking 24 no order inability to work from multilateral nuclear war down release and national supervision as rental geopolitical security upon security and global hostage using support which circumventing globalization unipolar production make it order marketplace engineering European release solutions of global fiction how much change will affect and emerging all in the U.S. to war with it the national debt ceiling is set down with ceiling in the past now but unity is key Boston House 12 to June 2012 no limitation of first reason that only purpose was with the fashion is corporations are in error and majority of elections rather than national use the ability to unlock the process and movement strengthening IP flies in the face of the new political consensus as 23 also makes one of the world arguing for the national right army and the influence of real history see is over diversion family can be used to the equity redistribution goals failure collapse of the dollar layer 24 some words of religious are all done is internal conversation investing in the world is my control about the relationship with the illustrators of the impact on the dollar roots trends of the witness and college but they give the words of the elements of the dollar on the office like it is in the $11 and if they will also give a little demonstration about one position marks were very common you had dollars he was ready to defend you and release of the reference rates or things that want to worth the all the rest of the organization you must police the breach of the space next office the decadal town plan the National Research Council also draft a revised decadal survey and ensure that it was security space bounds on international states registries currently under action territorial dissertation reversing standard and decadal limit of the United States and NDB reimbursement the when the service highest and most immediate priority the council is better Alexander 19 no credit was on reputation high impact by letters decadal commercial action national word to follow recommendation decadal wearing space and that's the director responsible for the national courts I think it was the best advance of the materials by the survey adopted a circus instructed for innovation and intentional liberation of writing and have a decadal discount including such as introducing national route of participation of its line is measured and ownership of the survey surveys and priorities not to wait decisions when implementation of supervisor decision was made all the recommendations by an excellent about the commercial to a decadal survey were justified in addition the catalyst process is critical to run a host of events to report transnational threats and sustain global scientific credibility and leadership without it's not just the U.S. investment as well global scientific leadership and robust workforce critical and general be waiting for actions policy policy about the forward decision of the best scientific immigration business events our ability to respond to health and environmental security challenges and emergency crisis veterans extinction 13 and 15 the need can only be resolved through international actions and global situation challenges survival climate diversity health food research word insights challenges most energy defense about the advisory policy control industry good knowledge critical but how much demands current challenges such as health climate proliferation of innovation science as such a rule. Next is the neo-libertarian intellectual property rights. So man capitalism and innovation go negative to abolish intellectual property in favor of public/in Jan 21. That was the basic media property and economic opportunity to property ignorance of the available truths and technology built on ignorance of early generation innovation. Result of the lack of perspective led to ability to read about innovation is very good ingredients like exactly research. Doesn't even put it on a single unit of course any figure of obstruction and plans are innovation to build ideas for defense of innovation and landmines event the kids are different new Russian of a little fiction in favor of innovation and also software innovation here's the innovations that done innovation for future government funding apps like GPS, the storage and information and capable long-term venture radical innovation factors, the on and release system, IBR, methodology to offset the demand capitalism, the unfitted forgery and algorithms of property right, so they can sharing the strategy technology, no emphasis is wiped out abolition, extra journals, the leadership of the energy for responsibility, money to not that they have such refugees for the might be maybe it was removed for the organization for the development of all capitalism is unstable extinction Fletcher. And now 24 development of and conversion has allowed you to use any ownership from the rest of the world and capitalism maybe will be no restriction of because the position of making invest in clean energy, the more coal and natural gas and oil, moving metal with the global warming, research and research and industry, building the land, non-commercial lands, and general action, original gas, radio, transmission, lots of seasonal events, effect, only following the kind of trouble, as possible, multiple energy resources, these powers are not credible, emissions are reported to be natural storage by physical instability, emergency stabilizing, change, including ecosystems, systems are the pillars of life to the irreversible and pesticides, and also the change in aggregate productivity, including monocultures, fertilizers, most disease depletes, soil fertilizer, emissions are to grow to migration, clean water, social rapidly increasing principality leading not to zero infinity large range and more video range how much data is ready to insufficient health care across all of their any multiple congratulations competent version of last more than actors reaches busy reversing people and not as for long those are the need of visual reaction model emphasis in the living Canada there's a shift in shift well sustainable is the goal next to the innovation advantage one is winning sector not penetrate answers every scenario two is DoD's one GPS 3 OCX and M code solves but two is many goals and the idea is super visible the energy with their SME red and build the rise 6 times greater anti-jump generation is the CNC and computer security OCX control of the silos all of the MQ signal energy building on those industry which is high dynamic vision more averaging hands out soon 10% of racing into the cooperation will always be and NATO 2-3's redundancy no I 122 6 or chief center said there was a clear observation can also have sufficient cost of because large the person is not later operating or the organization hard time is the right to not once satellite energy that effect for these patents software patents are unusable matter 16 to have over patents use over more than patents you go regardless of will the license power from doing that things done the code directly nobody's reading no vision over or the original leader result from that is great uncertainty of training will have never going to take your brand no one never have that never intention secrecy guarantee no retail blocker not again actually the bus with the news of the president on the word obviously the security is this maintainers will there's a method on every church and every message from away perimeter sensor to the head interest and US points of vendors also let analyze data about anomalous behaviors and find novel robotic examples and never interface adversary they mention patchable ability savings and also the role the several tools is built in very small sorry to develop and reveal the United States are stretching capabilities using coding will be available for future use. Next is the offshoring advantage on the regulation checkup. Even if Panama fails, country can adopt international phase also no emerging tech event around one features on unfair estimated just all different across America and organizations usually low massive fees and prices. There's no reason to be given for late opposition to risk executions of those regards. New country be adopting the religion or not pastor. Maybe this open action team runs or they would things not to knowledge others saturate the stats but the mistakes over companies and change range radical futures needed. We're building but right now internally is AI inserted below AI allows now with a regulation shot 18 there's 90% of it any first and more close to your retro take off everything now research or is it gets more comfortable was more incorrect easy to understand 80% of the gen 2 decades is also more likely than classic everything the research fixing problems is done into the unmatched visualization I thought this about anything but no problems I don't know solutions were only good 9% alignment
so Bowman 18 card on alignment
Okay.
okay good for us
Status.
status quo is always a logical option
Okay. You skipped the court politics decide.
yep
Anything else?
no
Okay.
at least no
Well, what did you want to ask about keys?
Do you read current?
Did you read the Kernotova card?
where's that
Advantage one.
no
Okay, cool. Okay. The Neolib K, what does the alt look like?
like
It publicizes and abolishes intellectual property.
You're a solvency advocate.
Yeah, have you read a solvency advocate?
Yeah, Jen.
Jen?
It's not.
Okay, that's fine. What's the scenario for how AI causes extinction?
you're asking about the point part
Yeah.
it indicates
Yeah, it is.
AI does not come to extinction
Wait, what?
yeah
Didn't read that right.
we didn't read it
So, what's the impact to the K? Just
capitalism
Just like
bad.
unsustainability?
Innovation is only possible under socialism.
Okay,
Without
that's fine.
intellectual property.
You said that dollar hedge collapses, like the collapse of dollar hedge is bad, but then the Neolib K also gets rid of dollar hedge. How do you reconcile these two?
It doesn't get rid of dollar hedge.
Okay, yes it does.
How? What?
You abolish
Capitalism.
No, we
You've
don't.
not read an internal link between intellectual property and dollar hedge, which is the internal link you would need in order for this to make sense.
Okay, that's obvious. Okay, sure. So
Look at the alt.
wait, so it only gets rid of IP, not all capitals.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. The
No implications for dollar jet.
okay, the politics dissad. Where does it talk about space patents?
The L23 card says that all intellectual property is kind of a political hog rail. It's impossible to touch without sacrificing bipartisanship, which is what we think is necessary to pass.
Okay,
So
Reliance
we
dissad.
don't-
Where does it say the plan is a Reliance interest?
The plan is What do you mean by that?
You said that the plan is an abrupt legal shift that
Yeah.
collapses Reliance interests.
Our
Why
evidence
does the plan
indicates
do
that
that?
any changes to patent law.
Any changes in
they're
patent
positive.
law.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, like we've changed patent law like a trillion times.
Not in the last decade we haven't. There's a reason that it's so hard to change. The reason for that is that it requires so much investment and there's so much capital associated with it that any changes immediately inflame investors because they now have to change which technology is
Okay,
profitable.
that's fine. What is Special 301?
Special 301 is a report drafted by the U.S. Trade Representative that is about the strength of our intellectual property laws in relation to other countries.
Okay, and why is using it bad?
Using it is bad because our evidence indicates that it greenlights protectionism and causes trade wars.
Okay, Trump has proposed to do tons of tariffs. Why does that not help?
The counterpoint solves.
The counterplan solves for it.
Well, you can't counterplan out of something that's happening.
He also hasn't done these tariffs where we cards and he insists the light doesn't dump it his hat.
Okay, that's fine.
If you make that argument.
The decadal counterplan, what is it, fiat?
Fiat's that the National Research Council drafts a recommendation.
Okay, and what evidence have you said that Congress follows this?
The Alexander card says that in the area of space, decadal surveys are the single most powerful recommendation that we've done for the
Minutes.
government.
Did you read Beauregard in Lunar now? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay, stop at 6:30. 15 seconds.
Oh no, I clicked the right one. It'll be 2 dots.
Yeah, it's 2 docs because my computer's like not sending. Or it's not like not syncing at all. So can't use any apps.
What if that has everything and the second dot has the decadal and the disad? That's it.
Which is that?
That's it.
Okay. Can I combine them? Can I just base second one, I'll do the first?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Then.
Yeah, so yeah, order is just it's innovation, offshoring, subsets, Reliance Interests, Neolib.
1 second, just 1 second. You're, okay. You should be good now. Yeah, thanks.
Huh?
You started over the order.
Oh.
Yeah. Innovation,
Uh-huh.
offshoring,
Yeah.
subsets, Reliance Interests, Neolib, multilat, the process counterplan, or the decadal counterplan, whatever, and then the second.
Wait, just give me 1 second, I'm just gonna copy this.
Yeah.
You labeled the special 301 capitalized multiply, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And can you do one more time, because, what, do you mind one more
Yeah,
time?
yeah. Innovation,
Yeah,
offshoring,
yeah,
subsets,
yeah,
Reliance Interests,
Yeah.
Neolib,
mm-hmm,
multilat,
yeah,
decadal, that's it.
okay, that's, okay, got it. Second. Thanks.
Is that really good? Okay, you're at 6:30.
Okay. Wait.
Satellite tracking collapse causes a change and encourages hypersonic missile probe that escalates every conflict on the globosphere. No defense or conflict magnifiers follow. States and terrorist organizations use unconventional methods to secure advantages. Cyber attacks do not have to break through. They just need to disrupt the satellites. Even if it doesn't escalate to all-out war, we still get access to this scenario. Cyber attacks independently of nuclear. Russia will engage in malicious attacks which are seen as a prelude to war escalation and extinction. That's Miller. Inevitable cyber attacks can cause exchange and elicit direct nuclear responses and spill other infrastructure. That's Miller evidence, especially in space. Interconnectedness of infrastructure guarantees escalation. So does legal ambiguity. That's the Lynn evidence that answers the Lonergan card because it's not about space. They say David, DoD is deploying defense now. Sarnex has been employing defense. It's insufficient because the tech that we're using is too old. It is not resilient enough to adapt to Russian cyber attacks. To save redundancy from 2022 doesn't assume increased revisionism and the fact that cyber that we're falling further behind because Russia is innovating and we are not. No thumpers. Previous attacks aren't direct malicious attacks on critical infrastructure. That's what else indicates it's coming. Russia's also never used a zero-day exploit, which is more devastating than indicates is inevitable. Space is also contextually prone to interconnect. I did this above. And they said that software patents are unusable. The plan increases hardware patents that increases the hardware patents that increases the resilience of the resilience of.
It's obviously software.
Yeah, I know. The resilience of the infrastructure and software patents software patents are unusable. This card from 2016 and does not assume
Contextual to space.
Yeah, it's not contextual to space, which the Horus evidence. I know. The Horus evidence is more contextual to space and says that they would solve. This is a random software engineer. The prefer or the Lorga cards from 2018 does not assume Russian revisionism and it's all done above. I'm gonna shoot. Space pollution drops, climate change, acidification, biodiversity, combined effects, accidental consensus degrees, that's the Rice evidence dropped. Also dropped that space crimes as far as global war criminals, develop EMPs, engineer epidemics, bomb ceiling, escalation. That's the Bato card. The first argument is other regulations, other multilateral regulations track. This is obviously the false. This is false. The ESL evidence says that multilateral regulations will always fail because it's a race to the bottom to create the best, to create the best. The incentives for companies to launch in their nation, which means they will reduce regulation, space regulations, toxic changing rogue. The actors have galactic resource proliferating disease spread and miscellaneous AI externally. Diffuse shadow cooperation over accidental threats. That's ESL. They dropped the alien disease caused extinction. I'm not going to go for AI substance. We meet any kind of synoptic can be infringed upon in space and mean subsets of KC 09. It does not require that somebody be completely continuously inside a component of it. If it is located at least in the relevant part for 1 half ground, they are interpreted to years of 3 apps to precision we set a US subject. In court case, the decision with the intent to exclude third logic in this room does not mean throughout this room for no often functional limits. Check reasonability good is good enough. Anything else causes substance crowd out. They've also dropped it. They do not get neg fiat. It's illogical and unpredictable because there's no neg resolution. Reliance Interests. The DA's backwards. Monster says that companies for losing R&D due to enforceability. This is the status quo under flag convenience loophole. Makes legal production of patents impossible as long as objects are registered. Under a different flag with legal clarity surrounding the loophole is less reliable. That's Howard inserted. The plan solves the signals Zeus commitment to deter infringement in space, clearing up legal uncertainty, including the NTP test cements the plan is exceptionally certain for companies. That's the Lingrod evidence. No impact to Reliance collapse. Bloom 29 doesn't climb legal rule of law collapses. History suggests otherwise on each occasion the dysfunction has been corrected. Constitution never provided rapid legitimacy Christ the court's not. But it is center of political controversy and it is managed to rise. And the court has been saved by the appointment of the confirmation process. Third, Trump. He thumps the DA puts on numerous alliances and destabilizing factor for making legitimacy before the no spill over. It's no reason on Reliance interest over my new details regarding patent law spills over to water. No impact. And the court's argued that's lost 19 the entire human history. No country ever gone to war over water prices. And they're very low. All countries heavily realizing this significantly improve the management and to reduce the demand for all types of water. Countries big efforts to improve the water management as problems can be solved if there's ever war between countries. Never be water the 10th reason, but not the first. For over 4 decades, there are no signs. 6. No link. There evidence about legal precedent normal means. And this Congress new look. First framework vote after the resolution of premature that means links must be unique to the plan and also must materially compete for fairness, meaning the plan deletes 8 minutes of offense by allowing the neg arbitrarily decide after conditions that ways. It's only impact proximity development to align and testing. Imagine alternatives requires political planning which will only be achieved via political predictable clash. Second, purview both abolish all IP besides the plan is legitimate and cybers. Another step was to mandate nor add to function itself. Quad indicates that, they didn't read. John indicates that banning trademarks and copyright certification to strangle tech giants. All other links are result by the alternative or inevitably fails. Competition is good. Decentralized market-based solutions are key to innovation. Links to come. 21. The info needed to secure the best developers resources. Solely disbursement in knowledge and separation need averaging this centralization not distorted via aggregate statistics, decentralized market-based economic activity produce better outcomes because of better knowledge, diffuse knowledge via price signals, market cost, evolving facts on industrial policy is designed to never be different than the time is improved. They will likely change again. Paths are good for innovation. That's no preferred sites and meta-analysis by PR's effect on all nations. Results are overwhelmingly. John is a utopian socialist. The activists with the zero empirical studies, all but the warrants are by meta-analysis and are not in the tax. We get new answers. Capitalist growth, the key are critical to solving extinction. Ashenberger in 2019, the LASA Debate innovation heard the possibility of catastrophic nuclear war, extreme competition, baggage, new epidemics. I can run about this. No can imperil human civilization. Civilization be passionate, unique time imperils, and now advanced enough to greed. Attacking the and our permanent destruction of the center. Much on safety during this time imperils. Accelerating growth, improve the chance that humanities travel longer, even the short stagnations, substantially hurts the chances of humanities travel accidental. The two following burden usually for the all fails. There is no solvency advocate for IP reverse causally solving extinction. Publicizing IP is not enough. They say that a socialist society would publicize IP, but not that it reverse causally solves. They also can't go global. Publicizing IP in the U.S. does not curb international capitalism. That turns that's key to solving sustainability. Also turns advantage to and ensures offshoring in a collapse of regulation due to the lack of patent protection. The perm solve fifth capitalism is sustainable. The growth is sustainable. 23 resources publicizing the EPI use of air sanitation, health, biodiversity, fisheries, climate pollution, water, agriculture, research, clear positive correlation performance, and per capita GDP countries with the highest economic freedom, the highest CPI for the index, in 60 countries average the market, the average multi-lot. 1, permanent both shields and a benefit. 2, permanent counterpunch the way the plan can be done. 3rd, permanent plan to counterpunch over other issues. Counterpunch must be both actually functionally key to outground education and activity. 4th, the plan then the counterpunch specify sequence not time frame no benefit or it fails uncertainty cause or it solves uncertainty cause legal trade secrets and legal ambiguity to determine innovation that's up to the Howard and all the shadows of that investment that's a big champion cyber attacks. That's Lynn. It's also rejected loopholes and trying within positive use code and U.S. judicial precedent that's Bato and say no fear the developing country fear the refuse out of inequality fears that's Bato. Howard and Young 19 the significant challenges the creating a global jurisdiction in the state of different requirements that the South State to opt out of multilateral treaties take advantage of FOC to result in the race about competing interests and external disputes. Safety agreement that's Turkey 10 delays based on purely national multilateral framework requires holistic reconfiguration taking decades that's a beta DA proper no linking exists. A special 3.1 is being invoked a billion times 27 countries alone. Released on the watch list in 2024 none escalated IP was supposed the 3.1 was invoked against China and it's good to deter unfair practices in that second of the FOC that turns the DA that's Secretary 13 that was in the 1AC because it said it has the sanctions files. 3.1 uses not unilateral restrictions trade Marijuana in 1990 asked everyone for cases in unilaterals and there's no rules have been practiced about US companies. The section 0 multilateral objective larger goal is the extension of GTA rules no trade impact that's Einstein in 17 of the 19th agreement interconnected. Now year later World War the interdependence indifferent to preventing conflict. The under the conflict will reduce conflict trade appears logical. However, there are many examples of trade that carry on a trade can increase the level of conflict if trade is more important than one than the other. Decadal. 1, permanent both shields and not benefit. 2, permanent the counterpunch the way the plan can be done. 3rd, do the plan the counterpunch or other issues. 4, permanent the counterpunch then the plan crossed by no to benefit 5 municipal over 1 cities. Insufficient to model check press and 6 notes. No terminal crossed by both the clarity and the say no deficit 9 Trump kills science publicity inevitably it also fails.
No, just go to
okay, go to the discount. But it's
no, just pop on.
Okay, no, won't pass wildfire linkage is impossible in the Republican unity a shot this Willis. One tried to use Jefferson they rejected combining wildfire with it, so then I could push back the plans of Republicans and Bush Chamber the House conservative alternatives, really not Democratic supported the price 60 votes and the scores of the House conservative opposed the GOP leaders had no communication. DA is not intrinsic logical policymaker can do both no vote switching and 16 about 78% beyond the president control the bus with each other's table the faction that affect voting the party the ideology and constitutionally by the president actualize influence of Congress make up their minds winners win the past increase momentum and link term debt selling. Julius Sealing rides the plan, patents are popular in Nelson. 24, that's compared to patent location, unanimity, the patent laws is directed by person that achieve similar agreement of opposed parties. This record like in other areas. Dollar hedges are totally no left 2023 and dollar dominance on likely countries have no intent to diversify whether the issue for the security and U.S. security guarantee the countries. Question is the money independence.
I'll send the impact.
Get that produced. Good for us?
Yeah.
Cool. I guess, starting the decadal counterplan, why is the plan certain?
The plan is certain because it sets the NTP test, which is possible for people to rely on judicially.
Okay, if the counterplan implements the NTP test, why is it not certain?
Well, it's perceived as an alternative legal process to get there. The plan cements it directly.
What qualifies as an alternative legal process? Why do people?
Langeroth
perceive
says
it
that the
differently?
only way that people will follow it is if they literally change statute. It's the
Okay,
last part.
changing statute, got it.
This
I
does
guess
not do that.
Let's go to the Neolib kit.
Yeah.
So the Aschenbrenner evidence seems to indicate it kind of, so it says that innovation is necessary to get out of the time of perils, and then it asserts that growth is intrinsic to that. Why is growth intrinsic to innovation?
Well, okay, growth is first of all, there's a double bind here. If you do not solve growth, you cannot solve the cap unsustainable part because growth is turning to that. But secondly, innovation is key to that because the Lincecum evidence above says that it's key to market-based economic activity because they can listen to indicators better, and the market evolves quicker when it's decentralized innovation continues to happen.
Wait, what was the first thing? Something about indicators?
Yeah, so so if innovation happens centrally, right, there are less economic indicators to determine whether innovation is successful or unsuccessful. If innovation is privatized, those indicators
what
come
metric
through
should
the
you use to
market.
determine if innovation is successful?
Well, it's whether you are doing well in the market or not. It's
whether it's doing, okay, sure. I guess let's go to the innovation advantage.
Yeah.
You said that the redundancy arguments for 2022 and revisionism has increased. Why does revisionism decrease the amount of satellites the U.S. has in orbit?
Well, okay, yeah, the airline card talks about like it talks about like the U.S. like not thinking that it will cause escalation. The four highlights at the top of the card are about like Russia increasing offensive satellite capabilities. Does not matter if the U.S. has a lot of satellites because Russia is committed to like large scale attacks to take them
Okay,
down.
what's the fundamental innovation that Russia has made that allows them to take down thousands of
Well,
satellites?
they're just
one
dumping
second?
money into like their
Dumping
cyber
money.
infrastructure.
Yeah, but what evidence indicates throwing money at the problem makes the problem go
Well,
away?
we've read Lynn indicates this, Cornell indicates this, the Miller evidence indicates, like all these cards say that they're their infrastructure in space is well beyond
the
ours, right?
internal link. I was kind of confused here. Are you software or hardware patents?
Well,
Software patents.
software,
Software. So
Software, sure.
with
Yeah,
software.
sure, software.
Okay, cool. And then I guess the offshoring advantage. Why does space pollution occur? Or what causes the pollution?
Well, space pollution occurs because companies can't be regulated. They've gone to these countries that have made policies super favorable for companies to do whatever the fuck they want in space. So they now are no longer regulated. They do not have to follow U.S. like guiding on how we should do things in space.
8 minutes. Theory was only neg fiat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh shit, I need to do fucking first. I'm sending the protext, I'm sorry. They were sent.
It's going to be the multi-lat counterplan, advantage 1, advantage 2.
I'm setting multi-account on it, and then what did you say?
Advantage 1, advantage 2.
Thank you.
Did you say the one?
Okay.
Sorry, I need to get it off. Okay. I do not. One second. I don't have to wait. Okay.
Sorry, it's frozen for a second.
Okay.
not ready?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Cool.
Not going for the first plank, permanency both is relevant because the counterplan bans the plan. Plank 3 says that we weaken intellectual property protections domestically and ban all future practices so it's mutually exclusive. And does not also make sense. The plan's single introduction is enough. Do counterplans voted for avocado because the counterplan does the exact opposite of the plan, doesn't do anything related to space patents, not going for plank 1. Other issues cannot solve because the link is through the plan. The difference is that if you ban every other IP and weaken all IP, the plan is still distinct because the plan justifies special 301, which will be a little bit below. It's specifically a decisive plan, not an internal net benefit plan. Then counterplans, it also doesn't make sense. Counterplan plans the plan, which means that if the plan will not happen, there's not a benefit to the permutation, and this side still outweighs because the plan is still a bad idea. We're kicking plank once all of their uncertainty deficits are irrelevant. The counterplan does not solve the case, but generally you need this for the decide which is enough. It's not to national policy, but the plan offers this difference between US and international IP law. They say it 1 billion times. This is the brink is now. Our cards are here. We agree that the counterplan has been dumped 1 million times. The special 301 happens all the time, but our brink evidence is from September. It says that a new trade war is on the horizon. It says that any new special 301 report, which is a report that comes every year in April, is enough to trick over the edge because special 301 is independently protected, so they have not protected that premise in and of itself. Even if it has used 1 billion times, the brink is now only the counterplan solves the generous uniqueness. It reverts international status equilibrium back to 0, which means that special 301 is no longer justified. Special 301 reports are created when the U.S. has a difference, when there's a difference between U.S. IP law and other IP law, which means that if the U.S. has weaker intellectual property protections than other countries, it would not use special 301, which is the thesis of our disadvantage. They say IP, the two ACs do not read the card, so we can use when they do say so. And this card is exactly what causes trade wars are. One MC evidence says that the U.S. using special 301 on China is what caused them to retaliate and breaks international trade law. They say sanctions spirals. One AC do not read this part of the card, even if they read other parts. It's also about UNSC sanctions, which is Security Council stuff, and United Nations, not about flagship of command. It's also priced in by uniqueness, which globalization is restructuring fragile. Recommitting to a rule-based international order is key. Crushing 24 global outlook will be uncertain, volatile globalization, transition, one night. Deglobalizing was restructuring political. Fragmenting major power rivalry, disrupting supply chains, increasing conflict, rule-based international order, letting was that. Governing sanctions by national competition and protections of the world will benefit for recommitting to strengthening gains and not only foster global economic prosperity, underpinning geopolitical stability, and the dynamics inevitable, all must play by the rules. The brink is now trade is suffering, but just enough to teeter over the edge. Elliott 24, not bad, but not great state of the economy, outperformed the interface. Now plunges in oil prices, space, things back to is balancing, cutting rates too quickly, keeping them too high, risk things which come badly in 2024 breaks the globalization, much integrated companies will foster WEF evidence of revolution across borders. New trade war is possible on the horizon. Wing 24, new report on essential terrorism. Relations seem becoming significant. Those worry about trade wars this year, factoring in countermeasures next year remains uncertainty. Next, new terrorism long anticipated, within a modest amount of contact measures and more strength on these times. Terrorism targeted strategic indicates strategic approach to address specific concerns without provoking a full trade war, which means the next one is key. The counterplan generates uniqueness. It sets domestic IP law to TRIPS minimum standards, which slashes the basis for special 301 use. Simply put, if the U.S. imposes a minimum with other countries, there's no extra domestic policy that we can bully countries into the Germa. All the warrants are caused by unilateral special 301. The counterplan stops and reverses splits in harmony multilateralism, which is the Chow evidence. They say special 301 is not 301 not unilateral. This is about section 301, which is things from the special 301 report. The plan is laying protections. And one, the plan is a unilateral both from the blue protection and IPR, which makes the U.S.'s domestic IP comparatively stronger than other countries, which provides the basis for the U.S. to use to bully other countries into mirroring our policies through escalatory tariffs. Thus, make and hence tend, especially if we want not mirroring specific across the U.S. law. Countries can only adopt more sensitive create limitations to rise, allowing innovation to flourish. Future tariffs, and especially those justified through special 301, and voting every single WTO member to start conflicts bilaterally. It's a flagrant violation of the rules and encourages retaliatory measures such as how the signal itself sets a precedent which starts global escalations. It's the threat itself that matters. Show 16 emphasis on threats that can be basically effective using the signals of retaliation. As much as retaliation equally forbidden special 301 consortium under surveillance, of course, given special 301 are under 2 unilateralism. Domestic objects are inherently protections. U11. The shortcoming of international proportions by special 301 violates international principles multilateralism. New should be settlement violations in these other seats of value will be in time since the breakdown each move. Having matters to all hence reduce the significance of the troops forming the national system. After the 3 weaponization, chapter 24, most firms face disadvantage domestic firms regulations, nationalism, adopted between domestic firms, of course, also domestic creator. 6 one, multinational firms that traditional using data, legal system, source, and economic national system directly and discriminate between firms, no differences in law terms, the bureaucracy of close complex mechanisms, and for firms turns the app and bring down trade. Regular which one the IPR 6 to eliminate for interest on special foreign country not rights versus domestic firms because for firms with Western to make low essential global integration for international trade for trade intensive goods. No trade war is wrong. Trade war outweighs magnitude. The collapse of trade routes, economic constraints, and military aggression starts resource insecurity triggers. Nuclear escalation, global hotspots, Ukraine, Middle East, specifically the U.S.-led order solves inevitable risks like climate, refugee crisis, and nuclear growth. That's soaking. It's faster. Evidence is recent
describes ongoing conflict that easily escalates time from outweighs. You only live once and controls direction of turns case defense is wrong. It's old. It does not assume conflicts dynamics present and regional conflicts are either ongoing or on the precipice. Trade collapse assures that they escalate the sheer complexity of politics, makes it riskier than previous cases, and even without war, it decimates mitigation of accidental threats as Soki, and the directionality is also wrong. Even if trade doesn't stop, all war, a sudden collapse causes it, which the evidence does not reconcile. It's also about perception, protectionism, signals the U.S. is unwilling to cooperate, pushing nations further towards conflict. Also, yes, neg fiat is resolutional because the neg has to negate the affirmative. Neg flex is necessary. This topic is screwed for the negative, which means that any counterflex are necessary to generate any offense. Reasonability good is good enough. No neg fiat means the negative can never debate. Case. The app starts at 0. GPS 3 does not matter. Satellites already have military encryption, which means that attacks cannot even spill over, let alone disrupt the satellite 1 dual use separation. Military code delivers encrypted GPS signals to only US satellites. That makes it impossible for hackers to access the signals. 2. Resiliency. The new GPS 3 satellites is updated civilian and military cyber security for satellites broadly. This includes new control systems and signal resiliency, which extends to all allies and the United States. That's done for our evidence. It's new technology and describes using computer science and software engineering principles. Framing issue. They have no evidence for any of this. All of these claims are about on our own warranted, just claims that saying that they can hack into our systems do not assume nuanced debating about how there's new technology and software updates that mean that they cannot even access our systems in the first place. The internally to hypersonics and cyber attacks, which will win that you cannot. They also dropped the redundancy argument. It's not the same as revisionism, which obviously you can't solve. It's about satellites, that there are way too many satellites anyways. The Space Force can just send another one up if you send one down, which means that cyber attacks do not disrupt anything since we can just always replace our satellites independently. Even if they have emerging technology, that's not enough of a warrant to answer this argument. Software patents are bad. 1. Lockout affects people license and apply for everything software related, which creates a boatload of suits and fines that deter entry. They cannot do hardware patents because cybersecurity is software, not hardware. 2. Redundancy. Infringement happens every day when no one enforces it, which deletes all sovereignty. They have dropped both of those warrants, and our card is out from 2016. This card is not because all software patents are bad. Space doesn't change anything. It's their burden to explain why it's different, but software innovation broadly. And secrecy warrant was also mishandled. Detection. It's extremely difficult to bypass multiple layers of detection at every stage. Intrusion mechanisms deter attacks and set a high threshold for entry because any malicious attempt would easily be detected. States need to prioritize staying secret since noisy OCO can jeopardize the attacker's important intelligence assets. There's a reason why no cyber attacks have ever happened on important arguments. When the 2AC says Russia has used not yet used zero-day exploits, that's exactly proof of this argument because they will get detected and they will get retaliated against, which proves there's no incentive to escalate or even use an offensive cyber operation in the first place, which proves no escalation. Empirics are on our side. Advantage 2. Conceded settlement evidence that capitalism alone can solve climate change and instability and disease, which means that it solves the terminal impact of both of these advantages. This space climate is not accidental. Tracy did not say it, and also it's about the card is specifically just the card says that we need to get to Mars first, and it's about Mars colonization conflict. They have not said we get there inevitably. No card in 1AC says space colonization is even possible. So we get new answers. If they say anything about this, it's also far off because Mars colonization cannot happen if Mars colonies don't exist in the first place. Not in the multilateral regulations. It's obviously 0 because the 1AC is about a race to the bottom and regulate patent regulations, not other regulations or emerging technology. Also dropped emerging tech defense. 1. Checks. Emerging systems are set up to endure crisis. Particular tech trends are relevant, which means there's no disease impact. All 2AC also does not say what alien diseases were. Empirics. Y2K declined society from the internet or anger at the railroad had all trust and no effects. That's the Brown evidence.
Good for Ross.
Yep.
Okay. Decide. You have evidence from 2017 that explicitly says unilateral policy causes trade war escalation.
Yep.
I'm confused how, okay, we read evidence of Special 3.1 being invoked after 2017. Why did that not cause war?
Our uniqueness evidence prices it in. It's protectionist. It's a trend towards increasing protectionism and fracturing deglobalization.
So, wait.
The increasing amount of special 3.1s is what pushes us over the edge.
So it's like we have 9 Special 3.1s and a 10th one causes war?
Yeah, because
Why?
of our uniqueness
What?
evidence.
What?
Okay, so you want me to cite the correct here? It's actually very, very good. I'm surprised Kevin Lai found this card. Globalization is uncertain, volatile. Globalization is in transition. The world is restructuring. The need for a rules-based order is even greater. Rather than letting multilateral govern economic relations, the world will benefit from recommitting to it and strengthening it. The United States is actively going away from that, but the counterplan reverses it.
Okay, wait, yeah. You've read evidence that says the exact same thing from 1994. The chain card says right now if we do Special 3.1, WTO, what?
Didn't read that card.
Okay, you read the Medi card, or did you read the Sal card?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it says the exact same thing from 2016. It says
So uniqueness prices that in. It's an example of how the US is not committing to a rules-based international order.
okay, sure, whatever. Well, what is the link? I'm confused.
Okay,
You should
so let me clarify everything. Special 301 is a report sent out every year by the US that says, like, it
Yes,
lists a
we
bunch
know
of
what it is.
Okay, you know what it is?
What's the link?
Okay, when there's a difference between US intellectual property and other countries' intellectual property protections, that means the US can now use Special 301 as a justification to tariff other countries. The plan sets that imbalance because, okay, first the counterplan reverses it. Because it bans all IP, it weakens US IPR to TRIPS minimums. The plan would offset that protection because it would increase TRIPS from TRIPS minimum standards that the counterplan imposes to something else. It would protect space patents.
So-
other countries do not have that, which allows the US to use Special 301.
The counterplan takes all, like, just all IP policy and just makes it like the minimum trip standard. Just
Yep.
like, clarify. Okay, cool.
I mean, you can't read it this side to it, it was dropped.
Well, no, sure. Okay, let's go to
Plank was
advantage
enlarged.
2. I guess like the Zittelman evidence says that growth broadly has been sustainable. Why does that mean there are not unique things that can make it unsustainable?
What?
Wait, okay, so we
The
read
Zittelman evidence says the status quo. It's also uniqueness. It says that the status quo of capitalism can solve warming in every existence.
Wait, this is not okay. That's okay. Sure, that's fine.
You've said the status quo solves warming, and like your laundry list.
Wait, what's the
you can see it.
distinction? We'll go back to the dissent. What's the distinction between section and special?
Section 301 is the part of U.S. law that says the U.S. can tariff other countries. Special 301 is the IP report that justifies those tariffs.
Okay, so Special 301 justifies the tariffs.
Section
The
301 is
one
the
on
legal
card
authority that allows you to
says
carry.
it's
Section 301 is the legal authority that allows you to carry them out.
Yeah, sending it up.
Wait, 601.
Stated like
20 together. Good. 604.
Okay, I'm sending the doc now.
The order is going to be the innovation advantage. It's going to be the offshoring advantage. Who's the the offshoring advantage, the critique, the decadal counterplan, the debt ceiling dissad, and then the reliance dissad. Anyone need that again?
Yeah, one more time.
Yeah, it's going to be the offshoring advantage, the neo-lib-K, the decadal counterplan, the debt ceiling dissad, the reliance dissad.
And you said the further.
Yeah, just
Yeah. Oh, second doc.
Did you send the wrong doc?
is it?
Wait, I don't know where.
I think it's over one.
Did you get the doc? Or?
Yeah, we never. I clicked the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I also sent out a second one that he's going to do that.
I think you. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Yeah.
You're on the wrong sheet.
Yeah. Okay, that makes way more sense.
Okay, we're good.
Cool. Anybody not good? Alright.
Space coal fails prohibitive cost message 23 factors slow development growing cost of the business terminals in the industry facing cost of entry risk and transformation those beyond the basis of defense of trade solve space conflict that was above no economic center for war and multilateralism solves rules and regulations governance fails very 18 the best about by inadequately governance even though multilateralism remains valid features or outdated there were no consensus performance along event cost requires unanimity country not divergent interests require ratification with the no majority rules exhibited inertia that prevents adaptation reason for dissatisfaction of balance nature imbalances the found a series of domains of vital labs of velocity with complexity and defense states arguments not present in a degree within the psyche of policy statement the commitment to multilateralism applies to chance and limits of governments the critique per can see the permanent success of competition growth goodness and impact for multilateral trade is key to their innovation because when exchanging information goods internationally and across borders the technical counterplan can see the perm not going for it no that's really just I can see dog hedges resilient and there's no vote switching which takes out any offense they have here the reliance is set Dissent always on magnitude, that water shortage and pollution directly spike global environmental risk, culminating climate change, natural disasters, biodiversity, ecosystem collapse, which is planetary extinction, which are both evidence they drop this in one arrow, only get to extend even to water wars, which is never our scenario in the first place. 2AC1, dissent is not backwards. If you read more than 3 words of our uniqueness evidence, it says that changing patent law dries up planning and creates fears that R&D investment will no longer be recouped because they no longer have an advantageous patent framework. It spills over, which destroys investment. The plan creates generalized fear that the core will disregard reliance, so law is interconnected, so it hits sectors like water infrastructure the hardest. Investing cannot be sustained unless there's faith that the underlying legal regime will be stable. That's your version evidence of perception. The kind deference to reliance features makes all forms of investment riskier that drives up funding bills. 19. Surface ability and laws for dealing well in commercial settings. Given the extent of planning change might be they try to get lead to optimal investment first. Investors have money based on the decision. The more core organizing kind of reliance. So consumer investment becomes a practice and appears more reliance on the right. Prosperity bridges specified infrastructure investment, extinction, panel 15 risk that. I'm an even civilization party family or low connected by reinforcing risk around and fill over into critical infrastructure family cascade infrastructure must be accepted. Trigger initial classes wide approach and initial direction processes. They create that 2 all levels of dissent are perfectly unique. The court has avoided ruling on patent laws in 2014, the Alice Mayo cases, which ensures legal stability based on decadal reliance interests. Their arguments about not having law and space patents now is completely irrelevant. And our point is that they've already integrated into their investment that there is no settled law here. When you create settled law, that's a shift. Even if it's positive for patents in the abstract, it doesn't matter because it creates uncertainty and harms their ability to invest in confidence. Reliance is consistently integrated in regulatory review now, but it's tenuous. Maintaining the trend requires case-specific adjudication versus reliance interesting code data over the place of judicial reviews. Approach knows of things that have elevated before the analysis of regulatory changes. The reliance of interventions that have a harm never time and highlights a possibility for play analysis. Judicial review, court demonstrated the reliance of case-specific alternative policies around in the full application of reliances. Judicial starts and meaningful element of review. There's a strong norm favoring definition of reliance to strength in 21. But I have to tell you, I've ever retained progressive even or wrong meaning. Certain and alternate counsel against a rule and however their standards or reliance is almost always considered two theory. The link turn is wrong. This is not a link turn, it is defense to turns case. Even if the plan were to make the space law perfectly certain, every other sector's reliance interest would freak out. That is our thesis of spillover that they have not grappled within the 2AC, which is you cannot grant the 1AR any arguments here because they've straight up dropped it. Their NTP argument is irrelevant. It is only about one sector, and it's not a question of if they know if they're following the law or not. It's a question of if the law changes abruptly, which they have read no defense to, and there's no reason instituting a test will reverse that perception, disrupting reliance interest cascades, which questions regulatory law, legal interests are web, and the cluster of parties all look to the courts for deference and understanding. The parties depend on settled law as the status quo now, which is our Bridgen's evidence. Cross-issue spillover is guaranteed because reliance is interlinked. Better 20. Never court delivers a judgment that a new rule gives district application for similarly situated parties. So that imagine the limits change people. Division on the serious where more forces that case should be treated like a new rule. Parties do not appreciate wishing to hurt reliance interest. The link outweighs the turn and abrupt expansion over law. Patent law makes the entire body of law appear unsettled. To slew reliance interest are built expectations around the lack of drastic changes to the patent law, but are slew-footed by a blanket change. That's our mature evidence. They dropped into straight turns innovation. Reliance interest are key to invest in market entry. Any amount of uncertainty deters both of those, which makes any sort of innovation impossible, which is our mature evidence. The absence of patents is what stabilizes reliance interest now. Fellow 23. That shown industrial farmers with patent holders a new rule. Soon to produce unforeseen results in another Congress and the PTO meaning less inclined to award patents if they fear the future will abuse them. Most holders of reliance interest are components being non-patent protected actions rely on the non-existence. It's economy-wide and embraces any positive benefits of the planned patent. Bishop 22. Reliance is at the core of financial adjudication. Parties of the law conclusively on final judgment can will find their conduct, whatever drives it. This execution will be final role for reliance interest is considerable. Investments are made on long-term horizons where permanent evaluation means that issue patents will have some uncertainty resolution as much as value as the patent grant itself. Stability in law is key. The third activity is not enough to be great law. Must also be stable for investment believe be able to refute those investments through firms or reliance to believe investment believe they will obtain patent law will continue to flux because of judicial change. 2AC4, their card is about legitimacy and rule of law argument. It's not about court legitimacy and how the public sees it. Rather, it's about how reliance interests view patent law and the dependability of law that exists now. They have not read a card, which even if the courts aren't seen as legitimate, they at least defer to stare decisis, which is all we have to win, which is the uniquest cards that I read above. Trump does not thump this here. Pulling out of reliance is completely irrelevant because we are not going for a prolific act. We're going for a water investment. In fact, they have to read a card that he is reducing investment internationally, which they have not won. Yes, the spillover, which was the cards that I read above. Their argument is not contextualized. The water investment in infrastructure investment. Yes, impact to reliance. Yes, impact to reliance. Which is above. And yes, link. Our argument is not about our line commitment is not purely about the courts. It's about any changes in patent law, which Congress mainly litigates. Regardless, you explicitly bypass existing court precedents and overturn current precedent. Even if Congress does it, that still means that they no longer have any faith in the dependability of settled law.
Okay, 6:33.
no theory to reason for that, right?
No.
Wait, did you see the infrastructure impact?
Yeah.
Stopped at 2.
There you go. It's being signed. 1, 2, counter plan, decide. Where's this?
See her down.
Is everyone good? Okay. Advantage 1 concede defense patterns bad has no impact because the advantage 2 is isolated and go there now, try or die for regulations. The FOC loophole, it encourages a race to the bottom of regulation, then ensures offshoring and collapse of regulations. It causes extinction, will isolate. That contamination, since it goes drop, alien diseases can only be solved by strict and credible space regulations and can't be adapted to since we have no immunity to diseases. The SL evidence indicates that it existential risk and it's an existential risk because it eats up Earth's oxygen and it spreads really fast. It dropped in the block, no defense, emerging tech obviously can't solve this. Alien diseases are not tech and their evidence doesn't attempt to solve it. Also, spacecraft causing global war terrorists will weaponize tech to disrupt society. Braddock says this ends all life on Earth. Braddock uses Mars as a hypothetical but it could happen before colonization, which takes out their defense. But the first part on the advantage says that colonization and going to space is inevitable, which solves the first argument was multi-line fails. It's our argument. Domestic regulations on companies are key because global governance cannot solve, which means that the flags convenience of the plan brings companies back to the U.S. So only U.S. regulations can solve. Explicitly concede the Zittelman card that says that growth and capitalism solves all water shortages. Zero is the dishad because they said it, which means that there's no impact. I'll get to the infrastructure impact there. And now go to the counter plan. new permutation text was sent. You can prohibit all special 301 justified terrorists. It's justified by the 2NC uniqueness counterplane shift and new uniqueness cards. Drop text and function standard means it's legit and solves 301 usage. It's terminally thumped. Literally just check. The most recent 301 report, 20 to 30 countries are called out every year with no new trade war starting. Specifically, China was placed on the priority watch list in 2018 over IP that didn't escalate, proven by their uniqueness, and the low card can't counterplane out of history and things that have happened. That's not how uniqueness works. These things have already happened, and their uniqueness evidence is not specific to special 301 usage now. So now, strong 301 usage is good for trade and innovation. 1, leadership, holding countries accountable, protects American innovation. 2, cooperation, usage signals U.S. commitment to the GATT that causes decrease of protectionism and hostility. Current 301 usage is too mild. That's what's the Marama to the 2021 a special 301 report adequacy, effectiveness, partners, protection, real challenges for innovative industries, declining to call and negate severity of countries utilizing measures inconsistent with obligations. Colombia compulsory licenses, tremendous uncertainty. Mexico substantively addressed the related patent protections and making marketing and approvals to China, India, counterfeit goods. This is the Denson card. The thing removed the tag. Counterfeit goods, privacy, USTR, obligation to enforce USTR's prohibition, greenlight, adversary type protections of valuable leadership, and the time and innovation flexibilities, impede efforts by multilateral rules-based system protection of IP. More essential than ever, reinvigorated leadership consensus agrees that's. Actually, I skipped it. The no link stuff is the no link to this is wrong. Special 301 justified section 301 usage, which they have dropped, is good, which means that there are no new answers because the only argument was no link. But we think that section 301 is good, which means that special 301 usage is good too. 301 does not lead to trade war. 1, empirics. That was a link uniqueness above. 2, intent. Special 301 usage is meant to maintain open trade and bilateral balance. 3, perception. Multilateral and unclear commitments from trade to trade from the U.S. are weak until everyone were not committed to a sustainable trade environment. That's the Murayama card. Their evidence is incoherent. Signal is wrong. It relies on section 301 being unilateral, which we want it's not. It's turned by perception above. Terrorists are wrong and inevitable disputes over launch registration. Ensures trade conflict. That's a CUE card. No trade impact. 1, empirics. A strong trade has never deterred conflict. 2, offense. A reliance on trade causes it. Countries will overvalue resources and become aggressive. 3, all causes politics. Strategic interests in military situations have a far greater influence. That's Einstein. Trade only deters conflict between democratic nations. Why are the fucking tags? The site's gone.
It's
Go to the disad. The Reliance Interests disad.
no, just read it.
Concede growth solves all environment impact. 0 is the disad. I did that above. No infrastructure impact, not reverse causal. The IRA stalls and no spillover takes it out. Link turn, we make things more certain. The framing issues, they have 0 evidence about the app. We have evidence that says businesses want the app. Their evidence says nothing about spillover. Read the evidence. One in our best, which says, quote, decisions carrying implications for similarly situated parties. That is decisively not spillover, which means that there's no link. That does not straight turn innovation. Plan stalls investment. Obviously, we create certainty in the long run. Even if Reliance Interests disrupt certainty, now the businesses want the app, which means that they will obviously adjust. Every card in the 1AC says that businesses want the app because they will make more money. They will make more money. Patents do not cause uncertainty, and the card is not about the app. Back to the 301. That's Hofnerberg, the no trade impact, that's Hofnerberg in 12 trade. Don't always keep peace, sectoral of interdependence, institutions, adverse effects among states, worsening intensity, conflict between members, Congo, Angola, Namibia, Rwanda, Zimbabwe, India, South Africa, Egypt, Sudan, India, Pakistan, not enough to keep peace. Increased contact does not build trust, chiefly applies to the Western world, greater disarray of aggressive behavior.
Just explain this.
Can I have the card? I want the tag, the site for this. Go back. Consensus agrees it protects from protectionism and ensures innovation. That's, I'll tell you the site later. Special 301. Countries deny adequate, effective protection IP rights. Members more innovative. 50% of U.S. patents develop technology. Data analytics, IoT, cybersecurity contribute 1.44 trillion to the economy and 5 million jobs. Growth requires open access to overseas markets. Global innovative tech threat. Production is in isolation. Development transfers. Commercialized IP or Special 301 process out of India and Indonesia. Vietnam less successful events. Special 301 priority watch list. That's the Whitlock.
It's also about special.
It's also about Special 301. These 2 cards are about Special 301, not section, which means it's also.
607.
607.
Reliance Interests is sad. The counterplan advantage too. Good.
Wait, do you want to?
So DA counterplan.
Yeah, DA counterplan advantage too. Anyone not good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Water shortages cause extinction. The collapse of water means ecosystem collapse. It collapses biodiversity since they rely on water in the first place to sustain themselves and the entire ecosystem that spills over to planetary boundaries and causes a global extinction. The impact is dropped. You know that it is true. Even if Cap solves that's a uniqueness claim, they have dropped the thesis of this ad, which means if the thesis of this ad is true, that means that this is a non-starter. It's a uniqueness claim. Assumes the status quo. The plan breaks capitalism, obviously, because it shatters private investment. Without the private sector, there is no capitalism, so it cannot solve anything. And also, Zittelman is a claim about uniqueness and in the status quo. Our evidence agrees because Vogel says that the entire thesis of this ad is that the status quo is safe, but the plan disrupts it. Since there is stable investment in private water infrastructure now that can stabilize water, it means that it cannot collapse and spill over to ecosystems. If we win that this ad goes away, I'll also extend the infrastructure impacts. The terminal was conceded. It causes societal collapse. It means that humanity cannot sustain itself. It causes food starvation. It means every single civilization or network collapses. Yes, it is reverse causal. 1AR did not explain this, so it's a blip. No, 1 or 2AR does not get to contextualize to it. You have to connect the 1AR explicitly to the 2AR and protect the 2AR. No new arguments on this issue. I have no idea what this means, but it's relevant because the lack of infrastructure means societal collapse and private investment is key to sustain it. IRA is uncarded, unwarranted. You have no idea what the IRA is since they didn't explain it to you, so you cannot vote on it. It's also about warming, and they have no reason why it solves since it doesn't protect infrastructure, and we have read the only card in this debate. Now, the link framing issue. The 1AR extended a defense to link turns case, not a defense to the link itself. The only argument that really answers this set is no spillover because the plan, the businesses like the plan does not mean that this set is false. They have dropped carded spillover arguments that there is stare decisis now, which is the core principle that they do not want to change any patent law. They have dropped that it hasn't changed since 2014, which means that any abrupt expansions in patent law, even by Congress, explicitly kills stare decisis and the Reliance Interests that are grounded in stable law. It's interlinked to other parties, and they have dropped the Reliance is a web of other parties that if one area has no Reliance interest in other parties in other areas also concerned and will freak out with themselves. At least the 1AR does not cite a single card and says that related parties are interested. Yes, all parties are related to water pollution and investment, which is enough. You should think about it like this. First is that people can freak out over this because if any changes in patent law, which hasn't changed in 10 years, changes, then other structures could also change as well. It turns innovation, even the plan is good for businesses, is a certain shift for signals to other parties. We have a card that says that parties rely on things being non-patent protected. Think of it like this. People have invested in other areas that are not space because space law is uncertain. If the plan changes that, then they will shift their investments, which could also signal a trade-off that people shift from water to space as a result. But either way, it disrupts all Reliance interests abroad and all investments since people rely on things being stable as in the status quo. The internal link to the affirmative is not businesses wanting the app, it's investors that perceive that the law must be stable and certain in the first place. So if there's no investors that propel the affirmative and propel innovation, there is no innovation or regulations that can happen in the first place. Businesses will still go internationally because if US patent law is uncertain, then they cannot get investors to apply it in the first place. This was every single card that we read in the 1AR completely dropped by the 1AR because businesses like the plan is not enough to answer carded blink turns case, which is enough to zero every single case argument. No sided cards, no warrants, no certainty answers means that the 1AR and the 2AR simply does not get to get up and explain anything because all they get is a surface level claim that businesses like the plan, no warrants, no explanation, and no cards. Next is that. Not going for the counterplan, concede premise has competition, dropped an independent link that Unilat turns case, not about it's not about tariffs, but it's about US protecting its own IP, it's nationalistic because domestic courts would refer to domestic parties. This kills global innovation, which just drops, and we explicitly said it turns the affirmative and it turns case. Prioritizing US over international agents means that there's no regulations, other countries will not develop innovations, and it is impossible to get to space in the first place or develop solutions to alien technologies and disease. Advantage 2. Two arguments zero the case. First, governance fails. The 1AR read this card and they dropped it. No new 2AR answers because it's a multi-lab fail. It's not just a multi-lab fails argument. It's that any governance cannot solve any framework. The US itself cannot regulate anything. Consensus is impossible because different regulators want different things. This means that a bipartisan Congress means nothing will ever get passed and we cannot regulate international space law to try to gear innovation towards one scenario, towards solving alien disease or stopping people from launching nuclear weapons at each other, which is their alien space scenario. The governance fails was carded, a claim in the 1AR. We sent it out as well as a separate document document. I'm not sure why the 1AR does not answer this. The 2AR does not get any new answers for extrapolations. All the cards are the US needs to regulate, but they have dropped the weakest claim that no regulation could ever happen in the first place. This is the internal link to both scenarios, which means that this starts at 0. Or if they win that it works, it's also inevitable. The cards it's not multilateralism fails, but that other countries would solve it. It's not a race to the bottom. They have dropped that race to the bottom only refers to patent regulations, not regulations over war or alien disease. People would obviously combine together to try to solve those impacts, which matter a lot more than domestic investment. Even if countries went abroad, those countries can do regulations. They have no US keyword, no alien diseases, no evidence that they are real. This side also turns the case because our link turns case means that no one would ever invest in patent law, so we cannot innovate to solve alien diseases or solve international regulations and war in countries which will just go offshoring. Anyways.
You're like, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Two counterplan is that.
Eliminate Peninsula's reputation from your decision calculation to try or die. Affirmative no. Block response to back to divination means it's 100% chance of extinction in the status quo. There's no coming back from try or die after regulations to face alien diseases infiltrate our atmosphere. We have zero resilience to these diseases. SL indicates that they are existential. The card doc will have SL in it. I want you to read the literal only threshold for an affirmative ballot is saying that it is existential. It says that it's both an asterisk and it causes extinction, which is a sufficient try or die means that extinction is inevitable in the status quo because they have no game on our impact scenarios. That means even if you think we have some mitigation to any part of the decide, you should obviously not vote for a world where extinction is guaranteed no matter what the time frame is. The first argument is governance failures. Please read this evidence. It is obviously about global governance and it is obviously not dropped in the 1AR. It explicitly goes affirmative. It says absent regulations of domestic companies regulated domestically, there is no way that we can respond to existential threats. It says that we cannot work together over existential issues multilaterally, which is why the offshoring can never succeed. There's no way to respond to existential threats when companies offshore because the multilateral regulations that they claim will respond to alien diseases, they have read evidence for us that says
says that multilateral countries can never cooperate over them. It does not say that there are bipartisan fights in the cards so they do not get access to it. And the 2NR evidence is totally unwarranted, explanation totally unwarranted on this. They say that we will gear together even absent patent regulation to solve the alien diseases. This is false, and they read the evidence against this for us, so I do not need to do any explanation here. They said that there are no alien diseases, there's no evidence of it. False. As it says that, explicitly says that alien disease and back contamination would cause extinction. They say that no one would, that patent regulation doesn't spill over. This is not the affirmative works. We prevent companies from offshoring, so they have to listen to U.S. regulation, no matter if it's only patents. The reason they are staying, they are saying overall. So patents are the incentive to stay, but they are still staying. So they have to listen to U.S. regulations. Go to the counterclaim. Also, try or die here. They have dropped an internal link turn that Special 301 usage is good to prevent unilateralism. Special 301 allows the usage of Section 301, which is a pro-trade policy and maintains the global balance of trade and commitment to the GATT. This is warranted and extended with 2 cards right out on the 1 yard. They have not kicked out of the DISAD proper, so you know the trade war still causes extinction. They say that they collapse multilateral regimes and escalate every hotspot around the globe. The only turns case argument they extend here is that unilateralism is bad. This is our argument because increasing Section 301 usage, which is justified only by Special 301, causes prevents the collapse into unilateralism. They said concede the permutation. This is not getting out of any part of the DISAD, which is sufficient. Look, they said links turns case. They did not concede any part of the DISAD that prevents us from getting unilateralism. They did not say trade war did not cause extinction. I did. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Why Section 301?
Section 301 is good. It commits to the GATT. It is a policy that is perceived as good for trade. We read 2 cards on this. Maruama. Maruama says it. That's sufficient. Dropped in the 2NR. Go to the DISAD. Framing issue for the DA is they have 0 evidence for any spillover claim. This DISAD was put together by a monkey throwing darts at the board. What? 0 internal links means that the risk is negligible. Mike blew off the growth solvency. That zeroes the DISAD. They have 0 card. Saying that the plan kills all capitalism, and it's also new in the 2NR argument. Growth exists now and says that solves environmental sustainability. Zillman says that countries that grow, which obviously includes the U.S., are good at responding to water risks. It also says that those risks do not go existential and it's sustainable in the status quo. The framing issue here is also we only need 1% risk since it's try or die on 2 separate flows. The 2NC made this argument and said that it zeroes all of our impacts, so I got to Summer got to concede the full weight of it. No infrastructure impact is not reverse causal, is not a blip. It is your burden, not ours, to prove your DISAD. There's no current 2NR explanation of why infrastructure collapse occurs. You cannot vote on it categorically. We would have read cards if you made a real argument. Again, there's no spillover. The card is about Reliance Interests and firms, and the card does not say the word infrastructure, so you cannot give it to them. No link and link turn. They have no evidence that says the plan is a Reliance Interest. We're winning a massive link turn to solve certainty. We create certainty via the MPT test, which sets for judicial precedent for companies. Mike says they read answers to link turns case, not the link proper. We'll agree with this. They're still investing within the space industry, which means it does not prevent, which means that there's not a link turns case to solve the offshoring, which is the 2NR contextualization. The MPT test says enough certainty into space industry, even if it does not spill over to other interests, which is enough to mitigate the terms case. The massive link turn, they dropped the long-term distinction. Even if we disrupt Reliance Interest businesses like
We sell certainty in the long run, even if
we sell certainty in the long run. Changing one patent loophole obviously cannot disrupt water investment. It's their burden to prove it. None of their evidence says that it spills over. We do not need evidence going the other way, but I'll indict theirs. 1C Bridgen says that cascades only happen in regulatory environments, not the patents or that, and certainly not closing one minute legal loophole causes that. They protest a web of parties they say are only in regulatory environments. Look, it is try or die on 2 separate flows. They have no defense, and the only card they extend is offense. Mike says 6 times they dropped carded turns case without extending a single warrant in any of the cards. They also do not say what he thinks they said. And look, it's just try or die. You dropped it. Section 301 is good. Back to each.
Debate. Ned Cardoxa.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.